She said that if I wanted she would kill her parents so we can live at her house. I never went on a second date with her. People ask Reddit, what's the most fucked up thing someone has told you about themselves after barely getting to know them? This was a patient. Middle-aged guy in short-term nursing home for a hip replacement or something. I'm trying to get to know him to figure out what kind of skills he may need to work on in order to return home safely. I ask him, do you cook? He responds, I used to, but then the cops found out. Years ago I went on a date with a guy I met via AOL Personals. Within 5 minutes of the date, he told me he was working on a book about speed seduction. And he was so confident he could speed seduce me, he already had a condom on ready for me. I hightailed out of there full speed. I googled him a while back and turns out he ended up self-publishing the book. Reply? Who says stuff like that? Guy sounds like a punchline to a bad joke. I honestly sat there for about a minute staring at him in shock. It was so fucking weird and scared the shit out of me at the time. Other than the fact that he actually went and published that speed seduction book, do you know any more on how he turned out / what he's doing now? He's still wearing the condom. He decided to switch from speed seduction to the really long waiting game. Imagine you being listed as one of his success stories. It happened so fast, she was out the door before I even noticed. I did find out he posted to some seduction forum that has long since been shut down. He used a nickname I went by at the time with this glorious creepy fairy tale about how his seduction worked and he slept with me. Needless to say, I created an account on the forum, using the nickname and gave the true account of how the date went. The thread was deleted by the next day. Chapter 1, Lesson 1, as soon as possible, tell the woman that you're a seduction specialist and that you intend to use your powers of manipulation to render her helpless to your sexual advances. This should put her at ease, knowing that she's in the presence of a strict professional. It will also excite and flatter her when she realizes that she's on a date with someone who has his pick of any vagina that he wants, but chooses her vagina. Now you're ready to choose her drink order. She said that if I wanted she would kill her parents so we can live at her house. I never went on a second date with her. Reply? Well, at least you know there's a crazy woman out there that's willing to kill her own family for you. That's something. Answer. Yay, too much. Reply? Bro, you let a good one get away. Have you seen the housing market lately? When your date takes you saying I'd kill for a place to stay too literally. This happened to my wife. We had just moved into a new house and the lady next door came over to introduce herself to my wife. As she was talking, she informed my wife that her husband was mad at her because she had farted when he was going down on her. Reply? I think I would have a difficult time not busting out laughing if someone told me this. And remembering it every time I saw her. Be like, oh Lord, here comes Poots. Puss in Poots. OMG. I saw a post on here somewhere asking what you would do if a woman farted while you were going down on her, and the comment I'll never forget was, put my finger in there and whisper, SHH, little fella, you're next. This sounds like one of my mom's friends. She just told her a story yesterday about how she shit her pants right as she was leaving for work and had to call in sick for work. Edit. Originally my mom wasn't going to tell me about this and my dad had to convince her that I wanted to hear it. I did not, and I was trying to eat some food at the time. I was doing a service call at a house and just making small talk when the owner mentioned out of the blue that she's married to her uncle. I've been there twice, and both times they felt the need to tell me. It's kinda weird. Reply? Was it an official announcement? Like I am required by the state of Alabama to inform you. The state of Florida has asked us to disclose our sexual crimes to you. We were bad but now we're good, moving on in your neighborhood. I was a teenager working retail and there was a fidgety older woman I worked with. I was always very nice to her, but she was just a coworker at the end of the day. One day she told me about her grandpa molesting her when she was young. Her parents didn't believe her, so it continued until he died. She said she was glad he died and was happy at his funeral. I really had no clue what to say since this was out of nowhere. I just said I was really sorry it had happened. Felt really bad for her because I could tell it still really bothered her. Reply? As a parent, I cannot imagine dismissing my daughters if they came to me with that, or anything like it. That's fucking unthinkable. Never underestimate the power of denial. And in other cases, the willingness to protect a family's public image no matter what. Shit's sick. My mom still denies it happened to me. I've come to realize that if she ever admitted, even to herself, that someone put their hands on her 4-year-old and not only did she not stop it, she didn't even suspect it, it would destroy her. Add the layer of it being someone who was supposed to be her partner, and that is just the disgusting cherry on top. She is denying it because admitting it would irrevocably break her. While I don't agree with it, I can understand it. We just don't talk about it anymore. At work? Me, hey new guy, nice to meet you. New guy, yeah you too. Check out this picture of a dude in a coffin. That's my nephew. He was killed in a drive-by last month. Me, let me show you where the coffee maker is. Reply. Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? You just sat down. Went to pick up food from IHOP one time and the hostess tells me how her son was killed in a gang shooting and starts crying. I felt bad for her, but it was super awkward, like I just want my pancakes. Imagine having your son get killed and you still have to go in and serve people fucking pancakes all week. I went with my dad to do an estimate for some work on a house. When I met the owners I literally only said hi, your house is gorgeous. And the wife went into full detail on how they'd bought it the year before because their 15-year-old daughter was attacked and raped. She ended up pregnant from it. They were super religious and convinced her to keep the baby. They pulled her out of school for a year while she was pregnant. They bought the new house in a new school district so she could go finish high school without having to face her former classmates. They were now raising the baby as her younger brother. I was pretty much speechless. What do you even say to that? That he broke in and beat the shit out of a guy who sexual abused his daughter, put the guy in the hospital, with a baseball bat. That he broke in and beat the shit out of a guy who sexual abused his daughter, put the guy in the hospital, with a baseball bat. Reply. He took one look at you and was like, this looks like a guy who would sexual abuse my daughter, I'd better not let him get any ideas. Jesus Christ. I was buying an AC at Home Depot during Black Friday sales. There were none on the shelf so an employee was helping me get the display model. He carried it all the way to the cashier for me. I thanked him and wished him a happy holiday season. A shadow crossed his face and he looked me straight in the eye and told me he killed someone a year ago during the holidays. He ran a man over and killed him. It was ruled an accident but he said he won't ever celebrate a holiday again because of that. Edit to add more info and answer a couple questions. I thought the employee was fucking with me as well. I did some searching online when I got home and found the news article, and he did indeed hit and kill a man. It was a super raining evening and just starting to get dark. The person killed was heavily intoxicated and veered into the oncoming traffic. Lady at work started telling me about land she owned in another state that is not part of America. She then started talking about how every American is a bond to the government, and your SSN is just your bond number. Wealthy people own those bonds and own you. She started naming off prices of bonds based off people's races and genders. This was all said after I simply asked her what she was doing with her long weekend coming up. Reply. Weirdly enough I had a dude tell me all this unprompted during my first night shift at Dollar General. All I asked was if he wanted his change. Do I want change? The only change I want is for the government to abolish the bond system. Oh? Well, have a good night, haha. How can I possibly have a good night? I, as a straight white male, am not even worth $100. When I was around 10, I lived beside this weird family. The little girl was probably 4 or 5, always clinging to me anytime we were outside. She talked incessantly and always wanted to hang out with me, asking to come into my house. She annoyed me so badly, but she was really sweet and excited about everything. One day she tells me, "Do you ever naked wrestle with your dad?" I told her that's really weird and no, I don't even know what that means. She then tells me she and her dad and brother naked wrestle a lot. Forgive me, but I was 10, I had no idea what the fuck I was being told. I still think about that to this day. The guilt eats at me. I wish I had understood more and told someone. I also had a classmate in high school I'd give rides to and from school so she wouldn't have to make her dad do it. After we graduated, I saw her working at the mall. She then told me her dad used to molest her and she was finally able to see a therapist and work through it. When someone says these things happen more often than we realize, they're not wrong. I have had years and years of training on signs of this type of abuse and it will forever break my heart and make me so angry. It's unfathomable. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.